would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Certainly. First and foremost, thank you for having me here. And I'm excited to share what I've learned in my years dealing with different sorts of WordPress setups, including some where we did marketing automation using external services, external CRM and marketing automation systems that we discussed in our previous call. And now using native tools like Groundhog and Fluent CRM. So a bit about myself. I've been working in the tech industry for the past 21 years, and specifically with WordPress over the past around 12 to 13 years. And I run my own little WordPress agency and hosting business. I do some consultancy projects on and off. So yeah, that's me.
That's great. So how are we going to approach this, Haroon? Where should we start on our journey about using Groundhog with LifterLMS?
First, to give a bit of an overview of the importance of using a robust marketing automation and CRM platform with an LMS. So you can do basic customer management within LifterLMS itself, but that doesn't really let you get a bigger picture from your customer the way you can with a proper CRM. So with a CRM, when your customers register, let's say you set up an onboarding form to redirect them after their registration process, where you gather more information from them. And then based on that information, could be any questions you want to ask them. Based on that information, you segment them so that you can then target them based on the requirements, based on their own specific characteristics. So let's say you learn about certain areas of interest they have, and then based on those, you tag them in the CRM, and then you run specific campaigns targeting people with specific interests in the CRM. You can't really do that efficiently without a CRM and marketing automation system. Secondly, you can perform certain actions when certain triggers take place in a course. For example, when someone completes a particular lesson or they complete a particular quiz, you might want to start sending them a chain of emails based on those actions. Or when their membership access is close to expiration, let's say you're using a membership system, either the one built into LifterLMS or something like MemberPress, which I personally prefer, or even Woocommerce memberships and subscriptions. So with those, when their access is about to expire or it has expired, those triggers can send them like a series of emails, one after the other over a period of your choice. You can add delays. And this is just one possibility. There are like a lot more. You can have WordPress do specific other things, like maybe send them a discount code when if they haven't purchased a particular membership, or if they haven't renewed it in like a week. You might want to send them a discount coupon automatically without having to keep track of all of that. So, hey, you didn't renew in the past week, here's 20% off, or here's 30% off exclusive offer just for you. So all of that you can do using a CRM and marketing automation system. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. So that was an overview, which got to be more than just a small overview. How we're going to do it, I have a WordPress install in front of me here with Groundhog and LifterLMS installed. So I'm going to share my screen and walk you through the process of setting up such automations.
Yeah, I think the one thing that we need to clarify before we do anything is that when you install LifterLMS and Groundhog, you need an email provider. And by installing Groundhog, that element isn't automatically set up for you. You need a, was it a
SMTP, yes.
plugin. The one I recommend actually comes from the Fluent family. They provide a really powerful free plugin that enables you to then work with a number of providers, which can be Amazon, SendGrid, and there's about half a dozen, isn't there, Haroon?
Oh, yes.
So you tend to set it up with Amazon, don't you?
Yes. So I use the Groundhog's native Amazon SCS integration for the primary reason that it automatically manages bounces and complaints. So when AWS receives a bounce or complaint, it can send the signal to Groundhog so that that particular contact is marked as bounced or complaint. That is set up using another AWS service called SNS, simple notification system. So yeah, that's the primary reason. Otherwise, we can use any SMTP plugin within WordPress and it'll get the job done. It just wouldn't mark those bounces and complaint contacts as bounce or complaint. You'd have to do it through another way, maybe set up a different bounce email address and then add its credentials to Groundhog.
So you use the one that Groundhog provides because of that reason. The reason why we use Fluent viewers is that with our system, we integrate it with SendGrid and we provide email functionality through our partnership with SendGrid. When you're using the WP-Tonic fully hosted platform. But what Haroon is pointed out is that if you're not using a hosting provider like WP-Tonic, you'll probably be best to use, when you're using Groundhog with Lifter, you'll be best to use their add-on plugin. So we covered that. So fundamentally, you're going to need a provider and you can set that through Amazon, through Groundhog. And that's a very powerful and one of the more inexpensive providers that you can use. So we got that out of the way because that does cause a lot of people a bit of confusion, doesn't it? Can you quickly comment on why, if they've already got a hosting provider, they shouldn't use the email system of their hosting provider? Can you give a quick outline why that isn't a great idea?
Certainly. Most hosting providers, at least all reputable ones, they provide you with email service for business email accounts of individuals that are members of your organization. So that's the email that you want to use yourself to send and receive emails manually, like compose an email or receive it in your inbox. Their terms and conditions don't allow you to use it for any automated bulk email system that sends a lot of emails to a list without you actually manually composing individual emails. So yeah, any automated system that emails in bulk, it's out of the question. Secondly, because it's against their terms of service and because it's considered abuse of their service, they have certain block checks in place that when they detect that activity, they're going to block outgoing emails. Or they have limits, like a single account cannot send more than 100 emails a day, because they know that generally in businesses, small businesses, people, like an individual doesn't really need to send hundreds of emails in a day on an individual basis. So there's that. And furthermore, on shared hosting providers, such accounts are on a server with an IP address that is shared by several clients of that host. So when there are like 100 different clients on a server with a single IP, and a lot of them use their emails to spam, let's face it, they do. Everyone wants to, take their business to as many eyes as possible, and they spam. Especially on cheap shared hosting, people spam a lot because it's cheap. They can just buy it, and if they get banned, no big deal. they move on to another one. So if anyone from your server on that IP address spams, that's it. Your emails are also gonna be blocked by recipient servers, by Gmail, by Yahoo. So yeah, you're not gonna be able to reach the inboxes of, or even the promotions folder. You're just gonna land in spam. And if enough people do it from an IP, it's not even gonna land in spam. It's gonna get blocked altogether. It won't even get delivered. So yeah, a lot of reasons. That's why you want to use something like SendGrid, something like Amazon SCS, or really any reputable bulk email service that allows marketing emails for something like this.
That's great. So I think we covered that, but I think it was important. So can you go through how you would utilize, do some basic automation setups with Groundhog using Lifter? So if you want to share your screen, and we'll give some insights to our viewers.
Certainly. So I'm going to share my screen now, and it'll be great if you can change the view to my window so that they can see as much of it as possible.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I've changed that. Side by side or standard?
Yeah, I can see my window in the group. So yeah,
Yeah.
it should work.
Standard,
fine.
I think, is best.
Right. Perfect.
Okay. So with this, viewers, we set up LifterLMS with Groundhog, with Elementor, using the Astra parent theme. We like Astra. It works well with LifterLMS, and it works well with Elementor. Would you agree with that, Haroon?
Yes. Are you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Yes, I said I agree. We have it set up with Astra and LifterLMS and Groundhog, basically. So let me walk you through what we have over here. It's just a fresh WordPress install with no content added to it yet. We just have certain plugins installed and activated. So we've got Astra 3, first of all, in themes, because the default 2021 theme doesn't really support LifterLMS well. So we have the Astra theme configured. And then in plugins, we have Astra Pro, as well as Elementor Pro, Groundhog Helper. This is the one where you enter your license key and then use it to install and activate any of the premium add-ons of Groundhog. The basic plugin is free. It's available on the WordPress repository. Same goes for LifterLMS. The basic plugin is free from the WordPress repository, but we need the Helper plugin to install any of its extensions, activate the license, get access to premium features and all. In our current setup, we've got all of these plugins configured. Ignore the last two. These have to do with my hosting setup. These are the plugins that we are dealing with. And first thing we're going to do is go to Groundhog and extensions. Over here, oops, I have to activate my license, which I forgot to do. Let me quickly do that in another window. Okay, so my license has been verified, and Now we can search for and install any extensions that we want. Or just take a look here. We're probably going to need the pro features for certain things in funnels. You may or may not need it, but since we have it, might as well install it. It's one of the first extensions to install once you have the pro version, because it has some nifty pro features. And then we're gonna need the Lifterlms integration in particular. So let's install and activate it. And you don't really need a form integration plugin, but in case you are using a form to gather extra customer data and then automate based on that, then yes, any form integration would do. We're using Elementor as our page builder, and I use Elementor forms as well. So let's see if we need the Elementor forms integration. Yes, we have it over here. Let's install and activate that as well. Lifterlms has been activated. And then we need an email service integration. So this is just a test site. We're not going to actually send emails from this site. That's why I don't really need to set it up for you. But for a lot of popular email services like SendGrid, as we discussed, SendGrid should be somewhere here. SendGrid is basically also Twilio. No, Twilio is just for the SMS, although SendGrid has been acquired by Twilio, I think. So yeah, there's SendGrid integration, there's Twilio for SMS, and then there are lots of other email and SMS integrations. For example, there's Elastic email integration somewhere here as well that I just spotted. Yeah, Elastic email. And there are a bunch of other ones. So you can take a look at Groundhog's website to see which ones are offered. Again, the primary reason why I use official integrations is because some of them have better bounce management for Groundhog. But other than that, you can use any. Okay, so now that we have the Groundhog Lifterlms integration installed, we can go to create funnels. But before we create funnels, we have to create a course in Lifterlms. So I'm just going to add a course. I'm not really going to add any specific content to the course. Just let's give it any name. Yeah. Let's just call it Groundhog Lifterlms Integration Guide. And helping you configure Lifterlms with Groundhog for marketing automation. Yeah, everything else can stay default. We can publish it. And then yeah, for now, I think this shall do. Okay, let's return to the WordPress dashboard. And over here, let's go to Groundhog Funnels. Oh, before I do that, once you've installed Groundhog, it gives you a quick start checklist. Make sure to uh, get a tick on all of these before you start building your funnels. That would go a bit of like a bit out of scope for this Lifter LMS and Groundhog integration setup, because that would be like in a purely Groundhog setup scope. We can maybe take a look at just setting all of this up in a future video, but most of this has documentation
I
available
think the
on.
best thing to do is just quickly go through what these are and
Yeah.
which ones are really problem. Basically, Crone
Yeah,
is
this is the
how
most important.
WordPress measures time, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, when it tells. I would say that. Which some people say, depending on the hosting provider you're using, some people, there are some free external services. You do have to go into your settings of your hosting provider.
Yes.
We, like I say, with our platform, we deal with that for you, but you can use an external service. And I think Groundhog, I think they recommend that you do that, use an external service. Am I correct about that, Arun?
So I personally try to use a good server, because for if we're gonna run a membership site or sell courses and have marketing automation, let's face it, it's not worth it to do on cheap shared hosting. You need some good hosting provider that focuses on these things. Like there's WP-Tonic. You guys focus on providing the sort of infrastructure that can handle all of that without any hiccup. So yes, first thing first, do that. And you don't really need any external provider per se. When you configure a cron job, it can be done at the hosting level using a PHP command that executes that particular cron file at a particular interval. So instead of having an external URL ping your site, you can have your own PHP executable on the server do that, because the external URL is going to do the same, but you're involving one extra complication when you don't really need to. So yeah, that's
True,
the way I
true.
prefer.
Yeah.
But
But
you can do it either way.
but fundamentally it's around time, and if you're with a decent hosting provider, they should be able to help you with that.
Absolutely.
We've already gone through what SMTP is.
Yes.
We've already what's this sync your users? Is that important to fix at this initial start?
So when you initially set up Groundhog, your WordPress users that already exist in the site, it could be just you as the admin. It could be, you have a site with an existing user base. So one time syncing them basically imports all your WordPress users into Groundhog as CRM contacts. And you don't need to do it again, because once you've done it once, in the future, anyone who is registered as a WordPress user, Groundhog is automatically going to create a CRM contact for them and keep the information in sync. So this is just the first time setup, required only if you already have a list of users in WordPress. So they could be subscribers, they could be people who have purchased products on your shop, they could be Lifter LMS users. So yeah, there's that.
So you could do that now, or you could come back and do that, couldn't you? So import your list of contacts if you've got an external list. Yeah, that's optional. Send a broadcast email to list. I would say that's probably optional, isn't it?
Yeah, that's optional. And then launch a funnel. Yeah, this is what.
So really, are you saying that configure Crone, integrate SAT, and sync your users and they're the three primary that you've got to configure.
Absolutely.
So I think we're given a quick outline of what three you got to really do and what are optional. So, and then we'll go into some more detail probably next month when we do another session about this. So we've done that. So how do we move forward then? Haroon.
Yes, let's go to funnels, because here's where all the automation takes place. So there are a few templates, login abandonment, which reminds your subscribers to log in every once in a while. So this description with these sample funnels gives you a good idea of what you can do with Groundhog. Just an overview of a few of the endless possibilities. A lead magnet download, giving away a lead magnet, make it irresistible. Feedback request. This can help with engaging users who may not be all that active on your site. Webinar registration, long-term nurture, hype series, new subscriber welcome. I recommend setting this up, of course, for every list that you have. But for now, we're just gonna start from scratch. So let's start building a funnel. And it has one benchmark and one action over here. I'm going to explain what benchmarks and actions are after I delete the existing ones. And let's call it LifterLMS. I'm going to extend this name in a bit. Okay, so the way funnels are structured, benchmarks are triggers, and when a user meets that trigger, then certain actions take place in the funnel, as you're shortly going to see. So for this particular funnel, the benchmark that we are going to start off with is Lifterlms Action. But let me just go through some of the basic benchmarks that we have here. These are native Groundhog forms, the web form. So you can set up a form in Groundhog and in the funnel itself, and then put that form anywhere on your site. And when someone fills that form, they're going to they're going to be saved as a CRM contact, and they're going to enter an automation if that form is a benchmark in a funnel. User created, this can trigger an automation when a new WordPress user is created on your site. Email confirmed, this is used with Groundhog's email confirmation feature, where a confirmation email is sent to a subscriber, and then any actions are performed once they have confirmed their email. Link click, you can set up a link, and whenever a user clicks it in the email that they receive or anywhere on the site that you've put that link, if Groundhog can recognize them as a logged in user or a user that has a cookie previously placed on their computer that identifies them, then they're gonna be entered into an automation. Similarly, CRM tag applied can trigger an automation, a tag removed can trigger an automation. When they visit a particular page on the site, it can trigger an automation. When they open an email, when their role in WordPress gets changed, when they log into the site, and then there are some advanced options like plugin API to integrate with other plugins, webhook listener to integrate with third-party services like webinar platforms, and field changed. If some information in their CRM data fields is changed, that can trigger an automation. So the one that we're going to be dealing with is Lifterlms Action, and you're going to see more benchmarks over here if you install more Groundhog integrations with other plugins. Like there are integrations for LearnDash, for different form plugins, Gravity Form, Ninja Form, Caldera Form, WP Forms, and Fluent Forms, you name it. Yeah, a lot of other platforms, easy digital download, WooCommerce subscriptions. So based on whatever you've got installed on your site and the integrations you've got installed, you're going to see different benchmarks. So over here, we've added Lifterlms Action, and in the action, we can have course enrolled, course completed, or lesson completed. So let's go with course enrolled. And when you select course enrolled, you can select a course over here. We only have one course, Groundhog Lifterlms Integration Guide. We can select this. And we don't have any lessons in our course, but let's say if we had lessons, you can select lesson completed over here, select the course over here, and then select a particular lesson over here. And then the automation would be triggered when someone completes that lesson. In fact, we can go ahead and add a lesson. so that I can show you. It's without the dash. So that I can show you how those lessons appear over there. Let's call it initial setup, setting up the WordPress installation, the necessary plugins. And let's add another lesson. Funnel building. Creating funnels to start automating LMS enrollments. Yeah, creating funnels to start automating things. For now, this will do. And then we've got to associate these lessons with the course. I've been using LearnDash instead of LifterLMS for quite a while, so I need to, or can you just quickly refresh my memory? Where do we associate lessons with the course?
I forgot myself, actually, be truthful about it. I think, oh God, where is it?
Is it this plus? Because while I've set up these things a lot, I haven't actually created a course in LifterLMS in a long time, because generally I take care of the role of setting up the automations, configuring backend things, rather than actual content creation, which content creators do themselves. But I think it should be fairly simple. At least it is extremely straightforward. It's like right there in front of you in LearnDash, at least. So we have categories, tags, tracks. Maybe it's in tracks? No. Oh, course builder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I personally find the LearnDash way of doing things more intuitive, but that's not to say that LifterLMS does it wrong. Okay, so here we are in the course builder. We've
existing lessons.
Got a new section, and let's call it chapter 1 and existing lesson, initial setup and existing lesson, funnel building, and yeah, save changes, exit. So we've set up some lessons, and let me refresh this funnel over here so that we can see those lessons over here. So yeah, now when I click this drop down, so we have initial setup and funnel building. So let's say you want to trigger a chain of emails to go to people when they have completed a lesson. You can use it like this. For now, we can just choose course enrolled and select the course. So once they enroll, you want to send them a series of onboarding emails with intervals of your choice. So the next step would be adding a step. And this time we're not going to add a benchmark because benchmark is the trigger. Now we're going to add an action. And this action is going to be send email. Although it could be, let's say you want an email to be sent to you instead of the particular user who enrolled. You can use admin notification that sends a notification, be it email, be it SMS to you, who is the site admin. You can apply tag in the CRM. Yes, in fact, let's do that as the first step, apply tag. So when someone is enrolled in this integration guide, we want to segment our contacts in a way that we can always reach out to them in the most efficient manner. So let's say we're going to call this LifterLMS or simply LMS in square brackets. This is just a naming convention I use in order to keep all my tags organized. So I can spot a tag instantly, and at a glance tell what it is about, how they got that tag. So for Woocommerce based tags, like when someone has bought a product, if I want to apply a tag to all the people who have bought a particular hero product on my site or the client site, then I'm going to probably in these square brackets mention that mention that product name or just say WooCommerce. But over here, it's LMS followed by that, generally that particular product's name or the purpose of the tag. So I'm going to call this Groundhog LifterLMS course students. So in my CRM, I can just spot them instantly that, hey, these are the students who have enrolled into this course. Or another naming convention, just going to share it with you because it might work better for you than this one. Students, Groundhog LifterLMS course. So this might be a convention that works better for you. You just spot them at a glance as students. So this is like very flexible, but choose a convention and then make sure you stick with it throughout your organization. So if LMS is better recognizable for you at a glance, that might work better. But for most clients, instead of LMS, student might work better. So yes, once you've selected that tag, it's like that's it. You can add as many tags over here as you want. So for example, let's say we want to segment them based on the particular course that they're enrolled in, and we just want to have an all students tag for everyone who has registered on your site as a student. We can use that as well. And this brings me to another thing over here as well. When we are editing a course, over here we have Groundhog Integration. So if you only want to tag people when they have enrolled in a course, you don't need to do any automation with it, then you don't need to create a funnel for that. We're doing it here in the funnel because we're going to do a lot more with this funnel as well, not just this tagging. If all you need is tagging, all you need is segmentation, then you can do that automatically over here in Groundhog, in the course creation setup, that when they start a course, a particular tag can be applied to them. And when they end this course, another particular tag could be applied to them. And when they start a course, a particular tag could be removed from them. And when they end a course, another particular tag, or maybe the tag that you had applied at start, could be removed when they end a course. So you can do that over here. Like if you only need to do it for segmentation, there's absolutely no need to create a funnel just for that. But here's what you can't do over here that you can do in a funnel. So you add another action to be performed after this particular action, send email. And this brings me to another important difference between the two as well. I think it's important enough to show you that. So there are Lifterlms settings that allow you to configure emails and actions that go out when someone does particular actions, like notifications when they've achieved, like when they've done something in the course, when they've enrolled, when a lesson is completed. So why use Groundhog when you can do all of this over here? The reason for that is this is just a single action that happens. This isn't a series, a sequence, a chain of actions. And then in Groundhog, you can add another benchmark after certain actions. So let's say they've completed a course and then you start sending them emails, and then you want to stop sending them emails when they perform another action. You can't do that in the default Lifterlms notification system. So let's say they complete a course, you start sending them emails to market your next upsell course, that, hey, you've completed this, now we've got this for you, this more advanced course that you can use to maybe grow your income. So you send them a dozen emails over the span of 4 months. You set all of that up in the funnel, but you don't want those emails to keep on being sent if they actually buy that second course. So to do that, you can use a funnel, because in a funnel, let's say the second action you use is tag applied. And this is the tag that you've set up in that second course that you are upselling. You've set that tag to be applied in the second course. It could be student advanced integration with Groundhog. Let's just, for the sake of testing, update it over here so that this tag gets created. So once they've purchased advanced integrations with Groundhog, then this previous chain must stop. And then maybe you want to start sending them a new chain. Let me show you how to set up chains of emails as well, but this is just to give you an idea. You maybe want to remove a particular tag once they've actually done something, and then another action, add another tag, or send another email. Let me delete this add tag, sorry. Send another chain of emails, add a note to their contact information, edit their user metadata. There's a lot. Change their enrollment in courses. Like let's say they buy one course and there's a bonus course that automatically that should automatically be applied to them when they buy a particular course. So you can do that. They buy course A and course B comes as a bonus. You can use Groundhog to automatically enroll them in courses. Let's take a look at this change enrollment. So you can enroll or unenroll a student from any course using this action. So you can see the opportunities, the possibilities are endless. But let's go back here and set up a chain of emails. So they enrolled in this course We set these tags for them, and then we send them an email, and over here you can create a new email. This admin title is what you see in your Groundhog dashboard. So over here, if we come to Groundhog and emails, you can create an email over here as well. The admin title is the title you'll see over here. It's not the subject, only you see it. So I also like to label my emails in a way that it's easy for me to know what funnel they belong to. So let's say this funnel is the Groundhog funnel, sorry, the LifterLMS funnel. So I'm gonna start my emails with, some indication of what funnel they belong to. And this is, let's say, enrollment email 1. So let's say post enrollment email 1. I create it, I add a subject, welcome to the Groundhog LifterLMS integration course. And this preview isn't all that important. Make sure that the right from address is set up over here, because generally it's set to your user account, and your WordPress user account on this site might be different, might be on a different domain than the actual domain of the site that's configured in your email sending service. So if your email sending service is configured to work on the happy.cloud domain, and your admin email address on the site is @gmail.com, then make sure that user account in WordPress is added with an email address on the desired domain, and then you'd be able to select an email address of any of the user accounts that are set up in WordPress, any of the admin accounts, any of the editor accounts, any of the I don't think author, admin, and editor, and marketer and sales manager are 2 roles that Groundhog creates. So over here, you're going to see administrator, marketer, and sales manager account emails. So one of the first things I do when setting up a site is creating a user account with info at or whatever at, like whatever you want, hello at, then the domain of the client site. So that in all of my Groundhog emails, I can then select that as the default sending email, because my address on client sites is generally not on client's domain, it's on my domain. And then you can set a different reply to address over here. You can align the email center or left. I generally align it center when it's like a more visual email using the visual email builder. This is just a plain text email. This is left aligned is fine. We're going to cover the visual email builder in another Groundhog course or lesson. And then the message type, marketing and transactional. This is important. Transactionals are emails that contain critical information being sent to the user based on their actions on the site, like password reset request, receipts. When they purchase a product, that's like a transactional email. They performed a transaction on the site and they're receiving an email. But marketing emails, even though they may be triggered by user actions, but if the purpose of that email is not to provide the user with critical or necessary information for them to be able to use your services, then it's a marketing email. So yes, a receipt is like when they purchase a product, a receipt that's sent to them is a transactional email. But if you send them an offer to buy an upsell, that's a marketing email. So you have to make the distinction. And it's a good idea to mark it as correct over here. And then, yeah, the rest are just mostly self-explanatory. You save as template, enable browser view. That's going to create a link in email to view it in browser. And then use custom alt body. This is going to let you create a different version of the email for plain text view. If they're viewing it in an email client that doesn't support HTML, because this goes out as HTML email. So yeah, once your email is ready, make sure to set its status to ready from draft, because in draft mode, it's not going to get sent, and create it. Once it's created, you can close this over here and select that email from this list. And you can save the funnel. So this is the first email they get after enrollment. Then we can add a delay timer. And let's say we wait for 3 days, because you don't want to bombard them with emails every single day as soon as they enroll. But you still want to keep on reminding them that, hey, you bought this course, come back to our site, engage. So this is where a marketing automation system shines. It's going to just, depending on how you configure it, send them a gentle reminder every few days that, hey, you bought this course, why aren't you utilizing it to the fullest? We can build complex funnels that only send those emails if they haven't logged into the site. In fact, it's not all that complex. We can set up a login trigger, login action over here that once the user logs in. So the way benchmarks work is a user may be in this chain after the first benchmark, and at some stage, maybe there are 15 emails in this chain with intervals that goes on for the first 3 months. But at any point, if they fulfill a benchmarks condition that is lower in the funnel, the rest of the actions are going to be skipped, and they're going to move on to that lower part of the funnel. So let's say we want to run a login abandonment funnel that sends them emails to keep on asking them to come back and log in, come back and log in. We don't want it to keep on sending emails if they have logged in. So we add a logs in benchmark after that chain of emails. And once they log in, that benchmark is going to trigger and the other emails are going to be skipped for them. That should be the last benchmark in such a funnel, so that once they log in, it's going to exit them out of the funnel because there are no steps after that. And then they just start over again from the very top. So I'm going to remove it for now because we don't want to use it for now. Delay timer, then add another email. So this email is going to get sent after 3 days, and create new email. We can use the one that we already created from my emails to use as a template. Start writing. And this is post enrollment email 2. Let's call it. Here are a few ways to make the best of this course. And this I'm not editing. You can edit it the way you want. So you see this curly bracket thing first. That's a replacement code. It's going to be replaced by their first name, and their first name should be captured when they register. So if that's a contact that you're capturing not through LifterLMS, just using a form, an Elementor form or a Gravity form integration, which we're going to cover in some other session, because today's session is all about Elementor forms. So you have to make sure that you have their first name. If you don't, then you can have a pipe sign over here, and then let's say friend. So if their first name isn't available in the record, it's going to use this friend text. So it's going to say, hi, friend. But if their first name is available, it's going to just use that. For now, I'm going to remove that, because if you're going to register them through LifterLMS, you are most likely capturing their first and last name, because you'll use it as an instructor to address them in the course and all. So we're just going to stick with first. And then the other replacements you can find from here and insert anywhere. There are replacements for first name, last name, email address, phone number, metadata that they might have, and their WordPress user information, their contact owner information. So contact owner is the person to whom this particular contact is assigned in the CRM. A contact may or may not have an owner. It's not necessary to use, but let's say you're running a site with several instructors, then you might want to set it up in a way that an owner is assigned to a contact when in the CRM when they enroll for a course. So we're going to take a look at that as well. So yeah, for now, I think this should do. We set the status to ready, we update it, we make sure that the from address is correct. That's a key part to always make sure of when you're doing it on any live site. Close it, and here we have it. So when they enroll in a course, a tag is applied to them, an email is sent to them, then we wait for 3 days, then another email is sent to them. I'm not going to add more, but you see where we're going with this. You can add another delay timer, another email, another delay timer, another email, and so on. And then once this other tag is applied, then the previous tag could be removed. Like, yeah, when this advanced integration with Groundhog tag is applied, then the previous tag could be removed if you want. We don't really need to do that over here in this sample funnel. And then we change their enrollment. We can enroll them into, let's say, another course if we want, or we just don't do any of that. When the other tag is applied, we just stop all of this and they just exit the funnel. We don't even need this over here. A funnel could be just one benchmark followed by actions. So you don't really need to have multiple benchmarks. But with multiple benchmarks, you can build a lot more complex funnels. So yeah, another action that I was talking about, applying owner, which is useful. So let's say apply owner. Yeah. Let's say you're on a site, you're doing a site with multiple instructors. So when someone enrolls in a particular course, you want to apply that course's instructor as the owner to that contact in the CRM. So over here, you're going to see all users who are administrators or marketers or sales managers in the CRM, and you're going to be able to apply them as owner. You've made another funnel for another course. You apply another instructor, that is the instructor of that course, as owner to the students who enroll for that course. So this way you can have in your CRM contacts assigned to their owners, and then those owners can see all of their contacts, like someone with a sales manager role. When they go to Groundhog and contacts, they are only going to see contacts that they own. They're not going to see contacts owned by anyone else or contacts that don't have any owner. They're not going to see any such contacts, which is very useful if you are running a site with multiple instructors and you don't want every instructor to see students of other courses, even in the CRM, but yet you do want them to be able to use the CRM to send broadcasts. So broadcast is another feature that can be useful. You can create a broadcast, which is like one-time bulk email, not an automated one, which you set up in a funnel. You select an email. You can create a new email, but I'm just gonna, just for demonstration purposes, select an existing one. You can select a tag. So you wanna send this is why I mark my tags like this. So I've typed student, I see all student related tags very easily. So let's say I want to send an ad hoc, non-automated bulk email to all the students on the site. But I want to exclude students who are enrolled in the Groundhog LifterLMS course. Let's say I want to send an email to all the students in other courses and want to market them this course. But I don't want those who are already enrolled in this course to get that email. So I'm just going to exclude the students who are enrolled in this course. But make sure the tags are actually applied correctly, either using a funnel or using this Groundhog integration at the course level. So this is a way I can send an email to all students except the ones who are enrolled in this LifterLMS course. And I can select a time or just send now. And send in the context time would make sure that if it's 9 a.m. in your time zone and it's like 11 p.m. or like 3 a.m. in the students' time zone. They don't get it at 3 in the morning. They get it at their 9 a.m. rather than your 9 a.m. And then schedule the broadcast, and it's gonna just send it at the time you've set up over here. So there's a whole lot more that can be done over here with Groundhog, with LifterLMS, but I think you get a pretty good picture from what we've shown over here.
I think to wrap it up, I think this has been a great introduction to somebody. I think the key things that I've got from this, Arun, is that you got to understand you're using tags, and you need to put a little bit of thought into your tagging convention, and a little work on that will pay enormous dividends as you expand, because not spending a little bit of time about how your tagging convention will be can get very messy, can't it?
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, and another thing over here, just the way we need to set the emails from draft to live mode, same goes for funnels. So currently it's inactive. None of this is going to happen. When you're building something or testing it, you may want to just keep it inactive while you're trying it out. But once
that's
you're
great
happy with,
as well, isn't it?
Yes.
I would
so
say
once you're happy with it, make sure to keep it active and save. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
I would say the strength for Groundhog is this interface where when you've used other CRMs, like let's just pick on Active Campaign, shall we? It quite quickly can be very hard to tell what precisely is going on in a particular automation, can't it? Where
absolutely,
with Groundhog, it's quite reasonably easy to see what is going on, isn't it?
Absolutely, I agree.
Right, I think we'll wrap it up, because I think we've shown, we've gone through some of the things you got to understand when you're using something like Groundhog with WordPress when you're first setting it up. We've gone through how easy it is to get it to work with either Lifter or, as you've said, with LearnDash. And we've shown how to set up some basic automation. I think we've actually gone through quite a bit in this session, haven't we?
Oh, yes. More than we were initially planning. But that's a good thing for our audience.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up now, folks. And when we come back next month, we'll probably delve into Groundhog in the first session a bit more. And then in our second video, we might look at Fluent CRM. How does that sound, Arun?
Sounds good to me.
Right, yeah. We're going to wrap it up. Give us some feedback in the group if you're watching this in the WP-Tonic Facebook group. If you're watching this on the WP-Tonic YouTube channel, I will have a link to our Facebook group where I publish just content for the group, and you can also ask questions in the group, and I will do my best to answer them, or I will bother Haroon to give me an answer. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.